So I just finished watching this. There's spoilers here, so I would say if you want to see this, go see it. But I'm gonna get into some things here and explain to you about. Overall, I'd say it's a decent movie. I mean, it had good action and fight scenes and stuff were really good. The story was good. The problem I have with this movie though is there is just way too much filler and just talking and just absolutely boring shit, man. I mean, they could have really cut down on a lot of the filler. I mean, my god. That's my only real complaint with this movie is it's just the first half of the okay, like I said, there's spoilers here. Just so you know, I'm discussing spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, I'd suggest seeing it and then come back because like I'm gonna get into it here, just so we're clear. But anyways, the first half of the movie, it's okay, but it's just so boring. I mean, there's a couple of really good action scenes, and then the second act, it's just more of the same. But I will say this for them, man. The end of the movie, wow. I mean, it's like they made up for all of their fluff and bullshit, man, because that ending, I was like, wow, my God, this is unreal. I mean, that was one of the best like action sequences and everything happening there that I've seen. That was just awesome. That ending, it's like they realized, okay, we've given you 2 hours of fluff and filler bullshit. So now we're gonna get to it. I mean, now that I've seen it, what I would do if I was to watch this again is I would just fast forward towards the third act and the last part because that's really where the movie begins. Everything else is just all of this stupid fluff, man. And the other issue I have with this is so the main story of this is there's this king ape or self-proclaimed king ape on there that's he's just like they're trying to make it like he's like a dictator or something and he's trying to like control everything. So the main characters, the main ape Noah and these other people that have this little village called Eagle Clan are just living their lives when this dictator ape comes and tries to kill most of them and then they get enslaved. And then most of the movie now this is one of the main problems I have with this movie is the main ape was just like such a pussy on there. I mean, there were so many times I'm watching this and I'm just like, you could just kill this piece of shit right now. Like, why? I just don't understand why they made the main ape like that such a coward. That was such bullshit. Especially towards the end, man. They have that massive fight, and then you think that the king ape guy is dead or whatever, but then he just like went around the fight and up on top of this hill, and then that's where they went to escape. So he's just like waiting there. And I'm like, well, how did he know that was there? Because the whole movie, the King Ape's like, we go cave, we get vault, you get my vault, and we go, and all this. And it was just like, he spent all that time trying to get in there, but he knew that there was that other opening at the top there. Like, that was a huge plot hole for me, man. Um, the end fight, I get what they were trying to do, but that king guy was outnumbered by like hundreds of that eagle clan to that guy. They should have just zerged that guy, man. Like they're all so scared. That's what pissed me off about that movie, man. It was like, why are they so scared of this guy? It was just so stupid. And then his the king guy, his second in command, that like baboon, that like buff baboon dude, that dude should have took over, man. I don't understand why that guy was such a bitch to the king, because that dude was legit scary, man. Like I found that dude like more concerning than the king ape. But yet he goes out like a bitch. And I'm like, "What?" Like that guy should have been that guy took over the king's thing, and then he was like, "Oh, I don't want to fuck with Eagle Clan, and I'm tired of this. Go away." Like that would have been a way better ending. But no, the king guy somehow knows that there's an entrance on the top, but the whole time he's trying to break through the front gate, and then at the end he's just like, "Oh, I'm up here where the other entrance is," and I'm like, "You mean to tell me you could have gone in there this whole time?" That was stupid shit, man. That was a really bad fucking plot hole. So, anyways, they have the king surrounded at the end on this like hill thing, and he's just beating the hell out of the main guy, who's once again a complete pussy. He just gets totally wrecked by the king. He almost dies. And what does he do? He starts chanting for the fucking eagles to help his sorry ass. And then the eagles come and they start like trying to kill the king guy, and then he just falls off the cliff. And I'm like, you fucking pussies, you didn't need the eagles. You had 100 of you there. He lost all of his people. He lost his second in command. He had nobody. He was just trying to fear tactic them. That whole thing with that main monkey was a pussy. Just really. And then the girl on there. This is another. Well, I can't really say it's like. Well, it's a catch-22. So, anyways, the whole movie, the king's trying to get inside of this secret underground base thing, and they can't do it. They're having hundreds of monkeys pull chains and do all this stuff to open this huge vault door, and they can't do it no matter what they do. Even though the whole time he knows there's another entrance up on the top hill that he could have gone, the stupid ass. But anyway, so the girl in this movie, I originally thought that she was one of the astronauts or something, but she's just like some spec ops chick who's trying to get in there because on the other movie, the one before this, like everybody lost their ability to talk or whatever, and she's trying to get some hard drive that I guess has some info on how to cure the humans so they can talk again or something. But anyways, they don't explain how she can talk and those people in there can talk, but that's another whole thing. So while she's in this like massive military complex thing that the monkeys are trying to get into, she's with the main characters because they make a deal, and then he goes in there with her, and they're in there, and there's like Abrams in there, and she opens this like area where there's a bunch of guns in there. Now I was thinking, okay, so the last movie, the monkeys were able to shoot the guns somewhat. They had a hard time doing it, but they were able to like shoot guns. But I'm like thinking, okay, so she's gonna like take these guns and give the guns to those other ones, and they're gonna go like kill the king and all that. So instead of doing that, for some like really odd reason, she goes to the front door and then opens the front door that they spend the entire movie trying to get through. And then the king comes in and he threatens to kill the mother of the main ape guy. And then the girl pulls out a gun and she shoots the guy that's gonna like cut the mom's throat, and that ape dies. And then all the apes are like terrified because she has a gun. But then the main guy, the king guy's like, "Oh, well, you can't take all of us." And then she like runs off, and she had this bomb thing they were trying to make earlier, so she just ignites this. She breaks this dam that they have because they're right on the beach. This is another. There's a lot of plot holes in this movie. I'm sorry. It's a good movie, but there's a lot of plot holes. So Anyways, they're right on the beach and they have this like dam to hold the water off. So she blows this dam and then runs off up on higher ground, and then the whole thing is flooded. Their whole base is flooded, and it goes into the vault and everything, and then this massive fight's going on in there. Then that's at the end where the king guy just suddenly, oh, I could have just gone up here, and it's just like I said, it's a good, decent movie with fighting, but a lot of it is boring. If I was to watch this again, like I said, I would just skip to the third act when she blows up that dam or whatever, and then just watch from there because I just don't care about the rest of it. I don't care about the stupid thing with the egg and those people trying to do that ritual thing and all that. It's just all of this fluff. There's just so much fluff in this movie. They could have cut out 90% of this movie, the first two acts, and then just anyways, let's look at this. 7.3 out of 10. Um me personally, I would say 6 out of 10 because they wasted a lot of time on fluff and meaningless crap. They didn't need to do that. There was a lot of things that they could have just too much filler, man. Just way, way too much filler with the humans and all that. Yeah, like I said, I'd say a solid 6 out of 10. The fights were awesome when they had it. The main character, why he was such a pussy in this movie, I'll never understand. That really pissed me off. Like I said, there were so many times they could have just, especially the end. He just lets that king nearly kill him, and then he calls the eagles to kill the king. And they had that king outnumbered 100 to 1. His whole entire clan was there. All they had to do was zerg him. There's no way he would have been able to fight all of those monkeys off. There's just no way. They could have just beat the fuck out of him at the end. They didn't even have to throw him off the cliff. They could have literally just zerged him and beat him to death. And I'm just like, this is how you do. You just have him call birds because he's so much of a wuss he can't even fight this guy. Anyways, I think the next one is gonna tie in to the original movies because she brings this hard drive back, and there's these people inside of this base, and they're able to connect with these satellites, and I think they're talking to the space station up there because she's looking up at the end, and then the monkeys are at, I think that's like Griffith Park Observatory. I think that's where they were. They were looking through the telescope up there, and I think they were looking at the space station. They didn't show it, but I think that's what they were doing. And then it just shows the main ape guy, and he's just staring up into space. So I'm pretty sure that's what the next movie's going to be, is the people from space come down. Now, the other thing too was at the end, the girl came back there because I guess she felt sorry for the monkeys or whatever. And then she was like trying to make peace with them. And the monkey's like being reasonable. He's like, "Oh, you could have killed us with that flood and all this." And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. This is our world." And he's like, "Oh, but it's Ape's world now and all this." And she had the gun there. So I thought, like, don't. I was like, don't shoot the guy, man. I was like, this is gonna be fucked up if she shoots the main guy, but she didn't do it. She just left. But the way they made that is I think they're gonna go back to the old movies where it's gonna be. I really hope they don't do this. I really hope it's not a repeat of the last couple of movies where, oh, we're superior to the monkeys again, and we need to kill all them. But then we get our asses kicked by monkeys, and then we retreat, and we come back, and we try to kick the monkeys' asses again. But then they beat us again, and it's like it's just going in circles. That's the main thing I noticed. It's like going in circles here. But I mean, it was a good movie overall. I just wish that they would cut those first two acts, man, are just You know what it made? You know what it reminds me of now that I think of it? It reminds me of Endgame. Endgame was the same way. If you've seen Endgame, the Avengers movie, this is pretty much their Endgame when I think about it. The first two acts are so boring, and you're getting ready to leave, and then at the end, here comes this massive fight. That's basically what this is. It's just like the end game of Planet of the Apes is probably the best way to put it. um, I would say to watch this if you want something to watch. It's decent, but you're gonna have to get used to a lot of monkeys talking and boredom and a bunch of crap, man. Because that was just, oh, they had so much fluff in there. God. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.